Hi, everybody. Happy Saturday. Welcome to another live chit chat from East Texas. I'm your host, DC, and I am so excited, my friends. I have such a special program for you guys today. You guys are going to have a blast. Normally, we have classes and we have just one guest. Today, we're going to go all out. I have an amazing set of authors here with me today. I have three incredible ladies with this incredible anthology. So, how about I stop talking and let's get started? What do you guys think? So, today we're coming live to you guys and we're going to talk all about the season of the witch. So, I have the fabulous ladies here with me today. I have Miss Zelda, Miss Roxy, and Miss Michelle. Ladies, introduce yourself and let's get started. We'll go with Zelda. We'll go that way on my screen. Let's see if I can manage that. Tell us, madam.
Hello, everybody. My name is Zelda Knight or Author Z Knight, but my pen names. I'm an author, indie publisher, and editor, and I'm just really excited to be here. I love romance in all shades, all colors, and I'm so excited to be in the season of the witch.
Let's go down the screen down to Miss Michelle.
Hello, everyone. I'm Michelle Hoffman. I write under Sophia Ann Hoffman. I also edit under Michelle's Edits. And I'm a fur mom. I have two fur babies. That's me.
Awesome. Last but not least, let's go across. Talk to us, madam Miss Roxy.
Hi everyone, I am Roxy. I write under R.K. Phillips. I almost forgot for a moment. I read a bunch of different types of books, so that's what I like to write. And I love numbers, and so my little tagline is the nerdy math girl turned writer.
And you do have a lot of math. The first time I ever met Roxy, for everybody, she goes, I have a disclaimer. And I was like, ooh, what is it about? It's like, there will be math. And I was like, oh, that's not what I was expecting, but okay. So today we're going to talk all about Season of the Witch, and this is incredible anthology, everyone, that dropped already. It is out on Kindle, is in Kindle Unlimited, and we're going to give you guys all about it. So, ladies, let's start with it. I actually happen to have a story in here as well that I forgot to mention you guys. So, obviously, I'm extra excited about it. But let's start with the stories that we have. So, Miss Zelda, tell us, what is your story about? Give us an insight into this fabulous world. What did you write?
Yeah, so it was very interesting this journey for this story. Originally, it was published in a shared world called Wed to the Warlock, right?
Okay.
And so, or if you don't know out there in the audience, the author world has a lot of ups and downs. Things happen, things, implode. And so what happened was I had this story taken out of this shared world, and I really wanted to reimagine it as this really decadent urban fantasy slash crime kind of drama, right? Of these warring warlocks all across the United States. And so I took this short that I had in the shared world that I retitled it Grimoires and Curses. And it's really this story. The first two books are the story of Jade and Ransom, who are two magicians. Big crime family. So I call it, Romeo plus Juliet, the swords are guns now, with a little bit more magic is what I'm going for with this. So it's sexy, it's fun, it's romance. So, you have that element too. But I think people that love a good crime drama and just want it spiced up will really like the Arcade Anarchy series, which Grimoires and Curses starts out.
Ooh. So you get a little taste of this amazing world, and for everybody, Season of the Witch has a little bit of everything. So you get a flavor of so many different authors put together, kind of with the same themes. It's all about witches in here. So let's go to Miss Roxy. What did you have for this anthology?
Well, we go from something more like crime related to probably about as opposite as you can get. I actually wrote this story for a different print only anthology at a convention, and then I put it in here. And it is actually kind of like imagine like almost like the Great British Baking Show mixed with witches. And so I have a witch who had a childhood nemesis. Don't we all usually? And so she moved away from her family and everything to this small English village. And then she ended up going and competing on a baking show. And she's a kitchen witch. And so when she goes to join this competition, she finds out her childhood nemesis is actually on the cooking show or the competition show as well. And so it's all about her adventure competing through there. You meet some friends and stuff. So I wrote this, and then at the end, I was like, if people enjoy this story, I'm actually going to turn it into a 7-book series. And so it's going to be like her and then her 6 siblings, and each one of them is going to have like a different affinity for like a different type of magic. So like she'll be a kitchen witch, and somebody else may be more like an elemental witch or something like that.
Okay, what's a kitchen witch? Let's bring that back. Tell me what that is first before we go down this rabbit hole. What
Great, don't
is
make me
that?
explain it a lot. I just did a little bit of research. More like a kitchen witch as those that are like more about the home. They use a lot of like the herbs, magic like that, putting more of intentions like in their food, the cleaning, and it's all more about like the home life. So like at the beginning of this, for example, since it takes place in England, they don't really have like cookies like we do, but I love cookies. And so I had her making this batch of snickerdoodle cookies for an American that was over there that was homesick. And so like you give that, like I have her put like this magic inside the cookies that when he eats it, he'll feel like that sense of home and love and comfort in it.
Okay, that is too cute. By the way, I love cookies, so next time you see me, let's talk about cookies. So, Miss Michelle, let's jump to you. What did you have for this anthology? What is your witch of the day for us? Tell us.
Well, my brain operates a little bit differently than other people, and most of my stories come from very vivid dreams. So I will say that my story happened just that way. I dreamed
Okay.
about a woman who has problems with static electricity, which I also have. So during the last months of the year, if I go into a grocery store and I reach for something, I might shock myself.
Okay,
Friends of mine,
how bad is this shock? Like, are we
it,
talking
it,
like ouch, or
like
you're
I
going to
can,
feel it?
yes, and it's a true story. I was in a grocery store and there was a worker stocking cans of vegetables, and I said, I hate to ask you, but would you mind handing me 2 cans of that because I shock myself when I touch metal? And he handed it to me, and you could literally see the spark between our hands. And he was like, ow. And I said, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't have any control over it. And this was with rubber soled shoes on. So you would think it would stop that from happening, but it doesn't.
I'm glad you gave us a disclaimer. I will avoid you in the winter, just in case,
Yes, if
honey.
I
We're not
actually hand
touching.
you something, be careful. So in my dream, she has tried on her witch costume, and her static has taken effect and she can't take it off.
Oh,
So now she's gone into a grocery store, just regular, and she walks down the Halloween aisle and things start flying off the shelves and sticking to her wherever they want. So the first thing that I saw was like this pumpkin dog toy, and it flew off and it stuck on the side of her hip. And then as she's going, like some red devil horns come and do like a choker necklace thing. And just by the time she's done, everybody in the store is like, please leave because things are flying everywhere and they're getting hit. So it was a funny thing. And I was like, I need to write some comedy. So I named my story Static Elect Witchery.
I like. So everybody, it's a
So
little bit of everything. You get a little bit from all sides, and I'll give you a quick glimpse of mine. I think the fabulous Miss Tammy, who is always sending me incredible things, and in her mind, they're always very funny. This one was a little traumatizing because she was on my list of people that I wanted to hurt. She sent me a TikTok video, all 45 seconds of it, and it was this guy saying, this bleeding wall. They had this wallpaper, and it had all the names when they peel it. So this guy was like, there's a lot of names. They call an investigator. It's like, yeah, this is not wallpaper. So I'm creeped out. I was like, thank you. You're not my friend anymore. Where would you send this? And this story just got stuck in my head. So my story about a witch is what happens if you don't know your background? What happens if you don't know your identity? And you're being haunted because you're a witch by a cult of people designed to get rid of them. So that's really what ended up happening. So this story took this crazy bubble of a madness in terms in that sense. So it's a little bit of everything in this anthology. So tell me, ladies, and I think Miss Zelda, I'm hoping she comes back because I think I just lost her for a minute. So I'm hoping she'll come back and join us. So tell me, ladies, as you guys created, what is your creative process? So Michelle, you're doing dreams. Roxy, you're pulling from different things. How do you guys come up with these stories to put them together? Give us a little bit insight. You're laughing. This cannot be a good start. What happened? Tell us about it.
No, no, it's not that. It's like I don't know. I actually kind of am like Michelle, and this particular story I got, honestly, I was inspired because I've become a little obsessed with the Great British Baking Show, and so when I was like,
Me too. I'm with you.
I'll be honest, that's where it came from. But because I was thinking, I was like, okay, I need to do a witch story. I'm like, because I wanted to stretch myself. It's not something that I would naturally go towards. I can do shifters, vampires, and everything else, but when I do paranormal, I don't think like witches. Like that's never been something. But I wanted to stretch myself in order to be put into the anthology. And so I happened to be watching that and I was like, oh, let me just do that. Actually, it was that and the fact that we had to choose our ball seats at the LLS, at Literary Love Savannah Convention. And so I was like, I love baking. And so I was like, let me be a kitchen witch because I wanted to be a sea witch too. But I was like, if I do a kitchen witch and I had the baking show, it kind of just all like melded together in my brain, and I was like, let me do this kind of a story and then I'll sign up for this table and it'll just all be like magical.
I like.
I
Did it
had
work
no
that way?
no well yeah, and I honestly, like, I'm not a plotter, so when I sit down I was like, where are we going? And so I just wrote it, and then at the end I was like, I didn't even really know who was going to win until I got to the end. Because I didn't know. Does she win? Does the enemy win? Does a random other person win? You will have to read it to find out.
I am such a plotter, so to me that is amazing that all you pantsers can go by the seat of your pants. Like, we're just gonna let the story tell us. Like, oh wow. So tell
Yeah,
us.
well, I'm jealous of the plotters because I was like, because when you get stuck, as a pantser, sometimes when you get stuck, you're like, nah, I don't know where we're going from here. Sometimes I know ultimately where I want to end up, or I have little points that I might want to do along the way, but pretty much it is very much a fly by the seat of my pants.
I like it. I definitely need to work on that because I'm like, we need to have a structure. We need to have some structures, and there has to be some plot, and I need to know what's going to happen at the end. That's my goal. It might change, but I need to know. Michelle, how did you come up with it? How does these dreams come to you? Because my dreams I tend to forget, so I'm amazed that you can remember.
Nope, it just popped into my brain, and I was like, I have to include this in a scene. So that's usually what happens with my muse. She gives me one really vivid scene that's about 3/4 of the way through the story, and then I have to pants her out basically the rest of it to get there. And then once it hit that scene, she's like, "Bye, see you. Take it. You're on your own." So
This is why I
from
started
there,
plotting.
it just
Yeah.
goes on its own. And so what I've managed to do with this now is I wanted to be in that same anthology that Roxy was talking about. Well, actually, it was a different anthology, but for the same convention.
Okay.
So it appeared in the youth anthology or Literary Love Savannah in 2021, and then it came out of that and went into Season of the Witch.
I am glad how everybody has a different way of creating and a different way of putting things together and being able to bring us all into the table, which I think is absolutely beautiful. And we have the fabulous Miss Elda's back. You're back with us. Hello.
Hi, everyone.
So we're
Sorry.
just, oh, you're good. We're just talking about how do we create? How do these stories come to mind? And you're just right on time to let us know. How do you bring your stories to life? Where do they come from? Because everybody pulls from so different things. Tell us, how does that happen?
Yeah, for most of my stories, it always starts with like a concept that I kind of want to see like expand it into something. So, for example, I'm really into crime fiction, mob fiction, anything, and also the real life true crime as well. And so, being that I write sci-fi and fantasy romance too, I was like, what if this but warlocks? What if uh, the crime mobs, but they're actually magicians, right? So that's how I got that different seasons of witch. But most of my stories I draw from my interests and just kind of mash them up together to have a great genre fusion.
I like the combination that everybody brings, and they're so different. So you have a theme. So this anthology is really, really fun because it puts together literally for us different authors, different takes, different environments that they create into one kind of plot. And you can see how many different witches. So we started chatting when everybody was here, talking about the behind the scenes of being an author. Because when you see us, let's be honest, you see us out in public, you see us at conventions, everything looks really put together. We work on these images. What is your real life like? Because I'm a bit of a hot mess sometimes. Ladies, how is your behind the scene? How does your prepping? How does the author get ready to be an author when you're not in front of people? What do you guys do? Anybody can jump in. I'll let you guys go.
Uh, well, it kind of depends on what aspect of the author life. If you're talking like day in and day out, I'm a hot mess all the time. So don't worry about it, DC. Like people who live with me, yeah, you know, there's a reason why my nickname is Hurricane or Tornado or something. But yeah. But for the most part, like I work and I have a day job, which most probably authors do. And so by day, I'm staring at a computer all day with numbers. I'm an oil and gas accountant, and so I work in a particular area there. But anyways, so I stare at a computer all day, numbers about like 9, 10 hours a day, sometimes more. And then sometimes when I come home, I don't want to write, so I don't write. And and because I'm like, after looking at a computer all day, you're like, no, I just need to not look at the screen. But then I find myself looking at my phone screen, and I'm like, this is the same difference. But if not, like especially for November, like I'll get off work, I come back, I'll Zoom with some other authors and try and get some writing in. Since I live alone, most of my social interactions are actually via the computer, so I'm very thankful for technology. On the weekends, I do more of my daily life, trying to clean, have some laundry, so I have clean clothes to wear to work, and put the things that I don't necessarily need to do to the side. But yes, and then interact with all of my readers and my fans. I try and post on Facebook. Um, I need to get better about doing it daily. If not, I definitely do something on the weekend that's a live for myself. I do live readings in my groups, which entertain the few readers. And but yeah, like but and then when we talk about going to convention, you have to get all prepared. And so then it's like you're writing and you're prepping and you're making things, and it's arts and crafts everywhere. And then you're trying to make sure you have boxed everything up and thinking of everything you need to give people. And then you get there and you're running around and you're like, I can't breathe, and you're just trying to like have a smile on your face and like make sure that you're very energetic and talking to people. So there's like different aspects of it. And I'm very long-winded.
It's all good. This is
I
why
like
we write. Let's be honest. This is why we have words so we can use them all. Miss Eldad, how about you? What is the behind for you of being the author and putting your works out there and then interacting with your audience?
Yeah, so for me, I'm currently in grad school, so it is a lot of the opposite. It's a similar thing, but with writing, right? So I'm not staring at a computer all day, but I'm writing and researching literally all day. Like all
Oh
I'm
yeah.
doing is writing for my thing. And so when I come home and try to do anything creative, my brain shuts off because it's just like it's just been reading way too much, like all day in and out. And so for me, it's a lot of the same. I'm a dog and cat mom. Currently, my dog is trying to hand me a chew toy as I talk on this live right now. And so, it's just a lot. I live alone as well, so you gotta have to be a self starter, I think, to be an author. Like especially when well, I would assume, especially when you're full time, but when you have other responsibilities, you really gotta be a self starter. And so I found like having a few close author friends just to bounce ideas and just talk about life in general, because a lot of people don't understand how it is to be an author. You know, like you talk about it and they're like especially like my grad program, they're like, you willingly go home and write? Like they just can't believe that. Like you willingly go and like read books outside of class, but it's like they don't understand that it's not, not always dull, but like this heavy intensive research. It's something that's fun, creative, kind of it drives me forward. So I say all that to say, yeah, author life I found is a lot of times the same but different. We just get through it because we love the craft.
Ooh, that is such an awesome way to say it. It is multitasking to a whole new degree because everybody has all these other responsibilities. I have told a lot of my clients being a writer is very selfish because it's the only thing nobody can do with you. You know, you can't invite people unless it's another author to be like, hey, let's go have a writing party. Nobody's coming. It's just you. You, and if you have some fur babies, because I have one, it's you and them hanging out writing for yourself. So can be a little selfish for other people to understand and be able to say that yes, you go home and you write, or you go home and you research, you're reading because you love it, and be able to say I love it and I'm going to give you something special. So tell us, Michelle, how about you? How has been this world of being an author been like?
Well, honestly, it's something that I've always wanted to do. Even back in middle school, I always wanted to be an author. I don't know what started that process, but eventually I would take my little handwritten stories and just give them to my mom, and she would be like, oh, this is great. And I never published, and never published, never published. And then an author friend of mine, Amy Samita, told me one day, she said, publish on Amazon. She said, if nobody reads it, you can say you're a published author. If people read it, now you have a source of income.
Ooh.
I was like, what have I got to lose? So I went ahead and hit that publish button. Boy, was I scared. But, I've gotten a few bad reviews. I've gotten a few good reviews. I'm not one of the major up there authors, but I am slowly building a reading. And I would say if I didn't write those stories, I would probably go crazy. Like the authors talk about the voices in your head, and readers don't get that, but you seriously have like this one scene that will just keep repeating, repeating, repeating until you write it down. It's the only way to get it out. So write those books.
That's an awesome advice for everybody. So we're talking about advice. Let's go right into it. Ladies, what advice would you give an aspiring author? Let's be honest about it. I've heard it all. I'm actually have interviewed over 85 authors that are published, and everybody has very similar advice. I want to hear yours. What is your advice for that person that says, I have the story in my head that I want to give and I want to put it out, but I don't know what to do? What advice will you guys tell them? And let's start with Miss Michelle, since you were our last one. Tell us, what advice will you tell them?
Exactly what Amy said. Write the stories down. You can't hurt yourself by trying to hit that publish button.
Awesome.
If nobody reads it, nobody reads it. Hey, you're published.
You're still published. Miss Elda, what about you?
I would say know your goals. I think a lot of people have different goals, and that will decide how you approach this author life. So, like, if your goal is to be like a six-figure author, like quit your day job, that's a very different goal than just saying I want to get these stories out in the world. I don't care, if it makes me a millionaire or not. So I think knowing your goals as an author will really help you in your journey. And you won't get stressed out about the small things if you know this isn't what I'm really trying to pursue. It's this.
I love that. Miss Roxy, what about you? What advice would you give them?
Actually, I really like both of those goals or pieces of advice because that is true. When I wrote my first book, it was actually a challenge, kind of like a bucket list thing, because I'd been writing with some other people, like more like a fanficky kind of thing, and I knew a lot of my friends had actually either co-authored with somebody else a book or wrote their own book, and there was things that happened in my life, and finally I was like, you know what? I'm going to write a novel to prove to myself I can write a novel by myself. And so I set out to do this. And actually, we'll even back up one step. I know I have to tell a story just to answer a question. This is terrible. But when I started doing this, because I had friends that were writing, I was like, you guys need to write a nerdy math girl. See, I'm telling you, math comes in everywhere. Anyways, I was like, you need to write a nerdy math girl. And no one was putting these people in these books. And I'm like, they need a place. And so thus I was like, forget all you people. I'm going to write my own story with my nerdy math girl. And FYI, the highest math in there is mostly she goes into a elementary school and she tutors somebody. So you'll learn about like how football and math like can interact, and like how the cheat sheets of how to do multiplications of 9. There's no like calculus or anything like that. Like she's a college professor, but I don't put like high math in there. But I just warn people, don't get scared of the title. But anyway, so I set out to do that. I had already finished my novel, had it edited, had the cover, everything. And then I was still debating if I wanted to push publish. So sort of my same advice is just confront your fears, find something you love, and put that in the story. Like write about what you know. Your first thing should, unless you just love research, and then how about it, but write about something more that you love and you are passionate about. Make that your story, and then confront your fears. And just, I had the same thing. My goals was very low, so I did know my goals. My goal was to sell 5 books and have one person that I didn't know like my story. That was my goal. Obviously I crushed that goal, so that's fine. I'll have higher goals for the next ones. But that was my goal. So I just have to say, don't be afraid. And don't be afraid to write outside of what is normal. Like if there's a topic, if there is a relationship status, if there is a particular type of book, write about it, but just also be aware of kind of what goes with that. Like if you write about something that is not as popular, no, you're probably not going to sell like 1,000 books your very first, swing out there. Because there's a lot difference in writing like contemporary romance versus, a male book or female book or, something like that. So
I like I love it. I like the combination of understanding your expectations, having your own goal set, not somebody else dictates it. And I think that's a lot of the things that I see is people going with these expectations given by somebody else. Everybody wants to be J.K. Rowling. That would be amazing. Let's put us out there. We all want the next Harry Potter. But at the same time, just have expectations that you love. And if you love writing, then write it. I'm all for this. Ladies, we're getting ready to wrap up. It's honestly been 30 minutes of enjoying your companies. And I know our viewers have enjoyed it, our YouTube viewers as well. Everybody's putting some comments. Thank you for joining us. Let us know. I want to know a couple of things before we leave. What book is in the anthology so people can go find it, and where can they find you? So let's start with Miss Zelda. What is your book, and where can our viewers find you?
Yeah, so my book is titled Grimoires and Curses, Arcane Anarchy prequel, basically, to the series. You can find me all over the internet at author Z Knight. Knight with a sword, not night like nighttime. And you can also find me at my website, authorZKnight.com.
Awesome, madam. Miss Michelle, tell us, where can we find you, and what story do you have in this anthology?
My story is called Static Elecwitchery. And right now I'm only on Amazon at this time, but I will be expanding later.
Okay.
You're on Facebook too.
Yeah, but as a reader group.
It's all good.
My author name is Sophia Ann Hoffman, not Michelle Hoffman, as I go by.
So everybody knows you can look for her pen name, find her stories there are fabulous. And by the way, if you are in Texarkana, I am doing a little plug before we wrap up, a pop-up shop on Black Friday weekend, and I have their books, so you need to come and check them out. So if you can't find them on Amazon, you need to come find me because we will have books there. So Ms. Roxy, tell us, name of your story, where can we find you?
I forgot about that. You have to remind me so I can send you a couple books. Oh, I'm terrible.
Yes. Miss Zelda, you too.
So, name of my story is Baked with Magic. And right now you can only find me on Facebook, but you can follow me on 2 ways. You can either follow me as Roxy Sterling, or if you want, follow me actually as my author is R.K. Phillips. And I even have a reader group. So if you join my reader group, you can actually see me do lives every week of reading other authors' pieces of work. So, and it's very hilarious watching me try and read. I even read, here's a lovely plug. I even read the first few chapters of DC's book. And let me tell you what, it was super intense. At the end, I was just like, what a way to start a story.
Which one did you read? Because which one was that intense? What are you talking about?
I swear, wasn't it your witch one? The one where it starts in a warehouse?
Yes, that is so good. That is so good.
I was like, when you were talking about that earlier, I was like, oh yeah, I've read that last week. And I was like, Michelle was listening to me and I was like, oh my God, what a way to start a secret novel. Like, this is crazy.
So disclaimer for everybody, I do quirky characters like no others. But because this was based on such a gruesome YouTube, the beginning of this scene would definitely go, whoa. It's a little darker than I'm normally, but it's hysterical. Let's just be honest. It's so much fun. So yes, you didn't tell me you read it. I need to go watch it because I think that's hysterical. So ladies, a pleasure. I am so excited you guys have joined me. I'm hoping our viewers had a blast because it's always a fun time. Thank you so much. Pick up the season of The Witch. The anthology is available. It's going to be available on print if you also want it. Incredible authors. We have such a huge diverse combination. You just got a small sneak peek of some of our amazing authors here. I'll be back in 2 weeks. We're going to talk a little bit about being grateful. So our next 2 weeks right before Thanksgiving, being grateful. And I'll give you another plug about the pop-up coming up. So if you are in the Texarkana area, you need to come hang out with me. I'll be literally at the mall with some incredible book finds for you guys. So everybody, many, many thanks, many blessings. Ladies, thank you so much. Have an amazing Saturday. And I'll be back 2 weeks, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.